What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Shut Up.
Keep going.
I'm Sydnee Goodman.
I'm Kate Franklin.
And this is an episode where we explore our internet curiosities.
Do you want me to do that sometime?
You can always do it. Always jump in.
Okay.
I just was never sure if you wanted to do it.
Well, we'll see.
You're always welcome to.
Okay.
We share the stage.
Yeah, we do.
We're kind of in a hurry in terms of recording this episode. So no banter, just getting into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, that actually goes with my topic. Go fast. Midnight Club. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Okay, so it's actually Mid-Space Night Club, and it ran from 1987 until 1999. The Midnight Club was one of the most notorious and highly respected street racing clubs to ever grace the Wangan Highway between Tokyo and Yokohama.
Whoa.
So it is a Japanese street racing club.
Okay.
And it is said to be essential knowledge for any fan of the Japanese street racing scene of the late 80s and 90s Japanese car culture. So founding, I picked this topic. Oh, I just realized we did this second. We're recording this episode and the last episode on the same day, but Fast and Furious F9 just came out a couple days ago, and so that's what inspired me to do this topic.
Did you see it?
We're seeing it on Sunday.
Are you a big Fast and Furious fan?
I love Fast and Furious. So before, I feel like I was like, this is not high art, like this is not film, and then like the more that I watched it, I'm just like, this is the best thing I've ever watched in my life. Like it's so fun, and I feel like it knows what it is.
Yeah.
And it like goes hard.
Sure.
And so I'm just like, I'm here for this. I love it.
Okay. I've never watched any of them.
Oh, they're so fun. I mean, 1 is good, 2 is not, 3 is my favorite.
How many are there?
9. There's actually more than 9. There's 10, 11 kind of.
Wow.
So there's 10 because there's 9 mainland films, and then there is Hobbs and Shaw, which is a spinoff with The Rock and Jason Statham that came out a couple years ago.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's like a soap opera. Sure. And like it's so ridiculous, and it just, again, it like knows what it is, and so it does it really well. And it's actually interesting because I was reading an article about how Fast and Furious, it was a Hollywood producer that was saying that like it really paved the way because the cast is so diverse. And it was I feel like it happened like very organically, to be honest. But I want to say it's Universal's highest grossing franchise.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So
I never mind. I met with like randomly the head of technology for Universal for this like thing I was doing, and he said that the last Fast and Furious movie, because of the pandemic and like people working from home, there was a translator in some Eastern European country who was translating the movie for subtitles, and her boyfriend pirated the movie and released it to like half of Europe.
Oh my gosh. Did they sue her? I mean, if they know
he didn't say. He was really nice, so I didn't think he wanted to seem like an evil guy, but he seemed really stressed out by it. Because I was like, oh, how is the pandemic for like Universal? And he was like, it's been a nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
What a horrible boyfriend. Unless she was like in on it too, but like
she might have been.
Wow.
You could make a fast buck for that.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I was doing that.
Yikes.
That's comedy.
But so yeah, that's why I decided to do this topic.
Okay.
And one of my favorite characters who shows up in Tokyo Drift, he is back. And so I was like, Japanese car racing, let's go.
Okay.
So it was founded in 1987 on a strong code of ethics to prevent any members of the club from endangering a member of the public or any other members of the club.
Okay.
To get in, you had to have a car capable of going over 160 miles per hour, but this would put you in the back of the Midnight Club because the club used to race along the Wangan Highway at sustained racing speeds of upwards 190 miles per hour. Which, like, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, okay, like, whatever. But then when I realize it's like sometimes you're going like really fast on the freeway and I'm like, shit, I'm going 90. Like, I'm going so fast. It's too fast. And then I'm like,
Yeah, that's so fast. Caleb got pulled over for going 70 on the freeway in the desert. Doesn't that suck?
That sucks, but that happens, man.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Don't speed.
Don't speed. Do weed instead. Just kidding. It's legal here. But also, like, that's unrelated. It just rhymed. Okay. So once you're accepted into the club, you become an apprentice member for the first year, where you'd have to attend every single meet to keep your membership status and eventually become a full-fledged midnight racer.
Okay.
And only 10% of their apprentices would go on to become a true member.
Ooh.
I hope they had like jackets. I don't think they did, because I feel like if I'm learning anything from this, it's that they're like very under the radar. But they're classy. The Midnight Club only operated on a first name basis and didn't allow club members to chat about each other's professions in an attempt to keep a basic level of anonymity between them.
Oh, that's classy. I love that.
Right?
Discreet.
Well, and I love the idea of all of these like members just like meeting up, and everyone only knows each other on the first name basis, and they're all just banded by the idea that they love cars and racing. Like, I think that's cool.
Yeah. We need more secret societies.
Absolutely.
I would say we should form one, but like it's not very secret if I just announced that, and also that I know you very intensely.
Well, some of them I think know each other really intensely.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the only secret societies that I guess they're secrets because they're usually illegal. Because I was gonna say, I feel like Fight Club's like a secret society.
One of the lamest things about, I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, smart people, so it's fine. Yale, that's like a big part of the Yale. I mean, I guess it's like a Ivy League thing, but they have secret societies, and
so did USC.
So lame. No, but like you have like you're like pretty much like you're in one if you go to Yale. And it's very much like a ranking thing. He was in one. I don't know if I can like say which one. I don't know how they work, but it just sounds really lame.
Because USC had Skull and Bones, which was like
that was at Yale too.
Yeah,
and it's like really like fucked up.
Yeah,
they have the Skull of Geronimo, and like apparently they fly. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I'm
sure it's on the internet.
They fly out like the new members to George W. Bush's ranch because like he was a part of it. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe it's not just
I really like secret societies though, so I might just know that because I've like read about it.
Someone mentioned we should do Bohemian Grove.
What's that?
I'll do it. It's a secret place.
Ooh, I love that.
Okay. Just telling you I read that.
Okay, so they only keep things on a first name basis, and if you join the club with a friend, you are encouraged to keep tight-lipped in the presence of other members. So they
get a discount though?
I'm not sure. I didn't see anything about initiation fees.
BOGO. Sorry.
Is Payless Shoes still around? Because how come when I think of BOGO, I think of Payless? I feel like they always had a big thing. They always like, how did they? That's probably why they're not still around, is because they always had BOGO.
It's like, we can't keep this up. We have no shoes left.
Because I remember I had to get choir shoes, and I like went over there and we got it, and then my mom was like, "Well, you get one." Like, you get one. So
some of the most distraught moments of my life were at Payless because really? I would just like be like, my mom loved, like, that was where we would get our shoes growing up, and I would go through the whole store. This is how I knew I was annoying. I would go through the whole store and be like, I hate all of these shoes. There's not one pair of shoe in the store that I would like to wear. And then my mom would force me to get one, and then I would never wear it.
Oh.
No, I must have, because how would I have shoes?
Maybe you just like resented wearing them.
Yeah, I was just like,
Payless shoes, BOGO. Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense because if like two members are like really chummy, then it might encourage other people to be chummy, and then you're just all chummy. Getting in too deep.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, because it's illegal. So like, it's like, that's the whole thing, is that this like street racing is super illegal. And so like, if you are caught, you don't want to endanger the fact that you know other people, other members.
Yeah.
So only on 2 occasions has a member's profession been revealed. In an interview, it was both in an interview for the magazine Max Power, where it was revealed that a driver of an FD Mazda RX-7 was a property developer, and the driver of an R32 Skyline GTR ran the family car sales business. Alex really likes Skyline GTRs. It's believed that a lot of the long-standing established Japanese tuning shops are owned or were founded by previous members of the Midnight Club. Like this like made me really exciting.
Yeah.
Like excited to read about it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool that this stuff exists.
Yeah, I love it.
And the fact that I feel like, I mean, granted, I'd imagine this interview came from, I think it actually might say it came from like an interview with like a former member. So like, you know,
it's legit.
But the fact that they like base themselves on this code of ethics, that it's like they can't endanger the public or other people, it just seemed like it was very purely like there's a certain purity around just like we just really like racing cars.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool. So meetups. To organize, I really liked this. To organize a meetup, the club leader would agree at the previous meet that all members would look for a specific type of advertisement in a local newspaper specified by the leader. So these advertisements would contain secret messages that the members would look for to know when and where to meet up. I mean, I guess if you didn't know what you were looking for, then it doesn't seem obvious, but like it provided an example and I'm like, okay. So, quote, "For sale, small handbags at discount prices. For more information, I am available for meetup at Daikoku parking area on Thursday between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Thank you."
So it's like, we're definitely street racing.
Like, what? That's so sketchy. Why would you, if you wanted to get like a small handbag, why would you meet somebody at a parking area in the middle of the night?
I have no answer. I was going to come up with something. I can't.
No. So this would run in the local paper and would let members know that the meetup will happen between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Why would they not? Okay. Just a suggestion to the members. Why would you not say AM?
And just have it split. That's a good point. This lady thinks. I like it.
A master's of fine arts.
But so it would happen 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. on a Thursday at the Daikoku parking area, which has become a dedicated area for street racing gangs to meet up in the city and became a mecca of the Japanese car scene.
Why would they not bust it?
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then now we're at the end of the Midnight Club. This is actually kind of sad.
Oh.
So I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Sorry. Local Bosozoku biker gang, which is, quote, a motorcycle gang culture in Japan based on rebelling. I don't know if that was like a rough translation.
What, like charity?
Decided to try and play with some Midnight members on the Wangan as they were racing. And so a few of the members from Midnight City decided to chase and race between the Midnight Club and Bosozoku began. The sentence I just say
that made no sense to me, but
okay.
I'm
So
with you.
a few, basically the like biker gang was kind of messing with the club, and so some of the club members decided to chase them and do a race between them and the bikers.
I see. Okay.
To probably like
I'm with you.
pride or whatever. So because obviously their cars are really fast, the Bosozoku members led the group into a high traffic area, and there was an accident that killed 2 members of the Bosozoku club and hospitalized 8 motorists.
Oh my God.
6 bystanders and 2 presumed to be Midnight members. And so what I thought was so interesting though is like the code of ethics. This is like making a lot of like conjecture, but is that it hospitalized 8 motorists, but because like no one was going to rat out or like identify who was who, that it's like they didn't even really, it's just 2 presumed to be Midnight members. They don't even know.
Oh,
For sure, you know?
yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Wow. They take it to the grave.
Oh, yeah. So cars involved in the gang were hidden away or destroyed, and members are still reclusive today and don't talk about the club or any activities they took part in.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
I love that.
Isn't it cool? I want like a movie. I'm sure there's a
that.
movie about this scene, but like I want like a modern day movie. Like,
It's not Fast and the Furious is?
no.
Oh.
They like save the world from bombs. From like terrorist organizations.
With cars? They just drive fast?
Dude, that's why I'm saying you need to watch all of them. Like the progression of it is so wild.
Maybe I'll watch one tonight. I'm home alone.
They're like stealing like DVD players, and then like by the end of it they're like talking to the president and they're like, I'm gonna like I'll save, they have a bomb. Like one of them is that like the bad guy has like a serum that makes him like a super person and is like could be a terrorist, and so they have to like stop it.
Do you remember we both like went off about Wonder Woman 84?
Yeah.
Right? That was my favorite part of like the entire narrative was like the whole like dream, like wish fulfillment serum. And like the screenwriter must have been 5 years old because like they said what you say when you're 5 years old. It's like, if a genie could grant you anything, what would you wish for? And you'd always be like, more wishes. And then everyone would be like, no, like you can't do that. And that was literally the plot. Spoilers, but that was the plot of the movie. Was the evil guy was like, I want. What was it?
I can't remember, but it was like something where it like gave him the power. So technically he's like,
I want to grant all the wishes.
It was like what Jafar does in
Aladdin. Annoying. When I saw that, I was like, ugh. And then I kept watching it for like the 7 more hours it was on.
It felt like such a long movie, and it probably like
saga.
Wasn't even that long. Here, wait, I'm adding you to a document because I have a visual guide for you.
Oh my God, cute.
Well, because I assumed that you didn't know these cars, and I felt like if you saw them, it would be like...
Oh, wait, I got it.
It would be helpful. And we'll include these in the visual guide on our website.
I mean, I can't say, but how do you know where I am between 11 and 3 a.m.?
I don't.
Well...
I thought that was also eye-opening because I feel like...
Oh my God, these cars are cute.
Right. I like forget that, well, don't look ahead.
Oh,
I like forget. Last time I do that, I like forget that it's like, oh, like texting, like you couldn't just like text or be on like 4chan or something. Like they had to like do stuff like that because
that
cute. Like, wasn't a thing.
But that's more exciting. I wish we still did stuff like that.
I totally agree. Instead of just being like, let's riot. Like, and like the FBI is like, oh shit, there's like stuff that's gonna go down.
Well, I feel like, do we have to resort to that again because of surveillance? You tell me.
So common cars in the club was the Lamborghini Countach. You guys, I'll say this, I love Fast and Furious. I think cars are beautiful. I don't know anything about cars, so I'm about to butcher all of these classic car names, and I wish that I was more sorry, but I'm not.
Wait, were they like rich as fuck?
Well, that's the other interesting thing is it seems like I think you kind of had to have money or something because like these cars it wasn't like you just like bought a car off the lot and then race them. Like they would do work on them and like soup them up and change engines out and do other things like that. And so I think that like some of them, I mean, there's one that I'm going to talk about that had $2 million put into it. And so some of them were definitely like, you're super rich. But then like one of the guys that I was talking about, they said he was what did I say? Family car sales business, which like you could do well on that, but I don't think you're like a millionaire necessarily.
Unless you're stealing everyone's catalytic converter. Speaking to the person who stole mine. Still mad at you.
Do you know what? It's not funny, but Alex was in town, my friend from New York, and she still had her Prius here.
Where?
Her mom lives around here. And so she came home to, maybe she was going to sell it or maybe she just ended up selling it. I don't remember, but she was driving around and parked it on the street downtown and somebody stole it. Yeah.
If you have a Prius, or I had a Honda Element, it's like really easy to reach the catalytic converter. So like get a cage over it if you have one of those cars.
Yeah. And they're like really expensive.
Yeah. It totaled my car.
Yeah.
Because it was like my car was shitty. So they were like, it's over for you. But it was actually like kind of insane. Like I had to drive it to the garage.
Well, you can still drive it. It just sounds like shit, right?
It sounds like a fucking Harley. It was so embarrassing. I'm driving through this neighborhood in my car. It sounds like 7 Harleys. Like it's so loud. And everyone was like, people were coming out of their houses to look at me.
Like, shut up. Oh, man. But yeah, so common cars in the club were the Lamborghini Countach. Maybe it's Countish. I don't know. Ferrari Testarossa, Nissan 300ZX, Nissan GTR, Toyota Supra, and Mazda RX-7. Alex wants a GT. That's his dream car.
What is it?
A GTR.
What is that?
I don't know. Check the document I sent you.
You told me not to look at it.
Well, now you can look at it. That's what it corresponded to all the things
GTR.
I said.
That's sick. You should definitely get one.
Yeah, and you can actually import them from Japan in 2024, and so that's what he wants to do.
He'll do it.
He will
do it.
He will absolutely do it. We're about to have a fleet of cars and only one of them, mine, is reliable and from this decade. Or from the last 2 decades, actually.
Wait, he doesn't have his old car anymore? He only has the old one?
No, he has the old one and the other one. The other one's though from the 90s and then that one's from the 60s.
Oh, I didn't know he had a 90s one.
Yeah.
I thought he had like a Jeep.
No.
Oh. Did he used to?
No.
Oh.
He hasn't had a car in a long time because he totaled his other car on a speed bump.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was in a parking garage and like the garage wasn't up to regulation. And so the speed bump totaled his car.
Oh. I mean, I've totaled
Oopsies.
I haven't totaled my car, but I've just absolutely destroyed my Honda Fit. So.
Oh, knock on wood, I've never done anything like horrible to my car, but I did have to there was a lot going on in my life. Okay, I'm just gonna put that out there. But so our old place, the garages were like detached and kind of like in a row, and it wasn't an electric garage door, and so I would have to park my car, and it was really, really tight. So I would park my car, get all of my stuff out of my car, and this was when I would go to the gym before work. So I had like my gym bag, I had like my toiletries, like I had all of this stuff. And I would take it out and then I would close my trunk, theoretically, and then drive into my garage. There was a time where I took everything out. I forgot to close the top of close my trunk. And so I went in and it just scraped. And it was so painful. And then once I realized it, I was like, oh no, what do I do? Because like if I go back, then it's just as bad, or do I just keep going? And then so I was indecisive and just kept rolling. Oh my God. Because first it was like, okay, I'll just go back. Like it's not that bad. And then I started going back and it made just like such a horrible noise that I was like, I should just go forward. But then that made a horrible noise. So I was like, I'm going back.
It reminds me of SpongeBob when they're like, you're good. I like...
Oh, wait. Don't go. I have... go.
I was just going to talk about destroying my Honda Fit.
Oh, go. And then
so I had my beautiful Honda Element for so long. I never did anything to it. And it like, I should have, because I was like 20 years old and irresponsible. But my Honda Fit, I've only had it for like 6 months. And it has a fucking backup camera. And I backed into a freaking pole. But... in my defense, it was golden hour. And so the sunset happened to go right into my backup camera and blow it out.
Oh, so you can see
it was
anything?
Kind of a freak accident.
Well, why didn't you like look behind you if you couldn't use the camera?
Because it was in my blind spot.
Oh, okay.
Like it was, and I was also really stressed out. And then the same fucking day, it was right when I moved into my new place. I backed into the pole and I was like, I hate myself. And then I was so stressed out, I pulled into my tiny garage that they call a carriage house, because that's what it used to be used for. And I just destroyed one of my mirrors. Just like absolutely destroyed it.
Did it fall off?
No, it just like shredded all the plastic, and then I tried to glue it back together, and now it's just kind of falling
It's like
off.
So painful when you hurt your car, because I feel like cars should be indestructible. Do you know what I mean? Like it
That's
just feels like it's like this big thing.
Mad.
And then it's like you like look at it wrong and it like dents.
It's like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Because I can drop like a fucking china plate and it won't shatter, but like I like touch my car and it's like, like what is that?
No, exactly.
And I fucked up the back so bad that I got rear-ended like 2 weeks ago, like by this man who was having a very bad day, and he was so upset.
Were you just like, it's fine,
man?
And
I literally was like, you're fine. Like he was like, oh, like he was so upset, and like I was like, truly, I cannot tell where the damage is. You're
such a good person, because I feel like there's some people who would be like, oh my gosh, you did all of this, and then try to like use his insurance to pay for replacing your entire back. Like that has happened to me.
Yeah, I mean,
with somebody
karma
in high school.
would like, that's bad energy into the universe.
Oh, totally. No, the car I hit in high school, I hit the back of somebody's car. Is that rear-ending?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I rear-ended somebody's parked vehicle. And his bumper was already like messed up. I mean, he was a college student or a high school senior, like whatever. And it was already messed up. And I made like this little dent, and he ended up replacing his entire bumper and making me pay for it.
But that's also the annoying thing about bumpers, is like if you get one little thing in it, they'll be like, we have to take the entire thing off.
But it was already like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Whatever. And I had to work all summer to pay it off. But yeah, my car, so my stupid garage thing, so it was all messed up. So it was all messed up, and I like went to get it fixed. And the like nameplate on the back that's like says what brand your car is, they like got the wrong year of it, and so it's like not spaced correctly, and so I had to go back to get it fixed. But it's like not spaced correctly, and it looked like I like got my car from, do you know Shein, like the like meme around it about how like all their stuff is like not as advertised basically. And I felt like my car just looked like a Shein version of like my actual car, and I was just like, when I would drive around, I'd be like, no, I mean like not embarrassed, but I'd kind of just be like, oh, I probably look so stupid. And I hope people didn't think that I changed it out as like an aesthetic choice, because it's so ugly that it's just like.
There is this car that used to park in my neighborhood that was like a shitty like Toyota truck, and it had a Mercedes, like, you know,
I think that's funny.
It was so funny.
That's like, I've told you this, one of my friends, he didn't go to Harvard, he didn't even go to college, but he has like a Harvard alumni license plate frame, and I think it's just like so funny.
I love that so much. That's so funny.
Oh man. Okay, so we have a little bit more to go.
Okay.
But the most famous vehicle on
Can I look?
Yes, from the Midnight Club is the Yoshida Special 930s, and it was owned by one of the members of the club who was rumored to be studying to become a doctor before they settled down and ran their family business. It's reported that the car had $2 million put into it to increase its performance capabilities. So I guess their family business was probably a business of doctors. Basics about the car. Featured a 3.6 liter stroked turbo flat 6 engine with a rumored output between 650 horsepower and 700 horsepower. Featured weight reduction modifications like bucket seats, and to help make it more aerodynamic, it had low drag wing mirrors and didn't run any windshield wipers to avoid unnecessary drag. Had large cooling ducts. Did you actually think it was interesting?
That's like really smart.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic or if you actually
stuff like that. Like, what did they call it? Aerodynamics or whatever.
Yeah,
is so interesting to me.
Right. I had this guy in my lab, my freshman chemistry lab in college. He was so smart, but he also seemed really dumb. Like I feel like maybe he was doing it on purpose because he was like this Asian kid and he like didn't want to be stereotyped. So I feel like he acted dumb, but was actually like wicked smart.
Me.
And he sorry. And he rebuilt an entire car with carbon fiber and transferred to MIT. So
good for him.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing well.
I hope so too.
I felt really smart because one time we were driving in the desert and I had my hand out the window like a Carefree music video.
You mean like Friday from Rebecca Black?
Yeah. And then I was doing that, and then I realized that's how plane flaps work, because it's like the velocity, and if you like, do you know what I mean? Like if you go in your car and you put your hand like this and then you tilt it, your hand will fly up. That's how plane flaps work. That's why you take off. I was like blown away because I could not figure out how airplanes worked.
I mean, I still am like, what?
I fully understand now.
Really?
I could build a airplane. No. But I understand that's like why you take off.
I mean, I get the takeoff thing, but like,
and how it like
how come you
ride
stay in the sky?
What do you call it? You ride the air pressure. I don't know if that's the correct terminology.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that just sustains?
Because it's like if the pressure is either high, I don't know, if it's like higher or lower, then you'll like float above it, and you have to, but it's about the velocity.
You figured all this out with your hand out of the window?
Yes. When you go drive later, do this and then do this, and your hand will fly up.
But you were like, it's the air pressure and the velocity when you did that?
Yeah.
How interesting. Wow, you are really smart.
Thank you so much.
You should transfer to MIT.
I honestly would. I was thinking about how I want to be a psychiatrist.
You should talk to Alex. She's doing that.
Really?
Well, not psychiatrist. She's doing wants to be a therapist.
1 week at a film school, and I'm like, all right, I'm a doctor now.
I remember I wanted to be a psychiatrist for a bit, and then I was like, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Do you...
I just got really tired.
The windshield wipers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the car was created by Yoshida-san to rival the RUF Yellowbird, which is where its nickname around pop culture of Blackbird came. I didn't understand that sentence, but maybe if you really like cars, you do. Or maybe I'm leaving out too much context and it makes no sense to anyone. Sorry. There's also the air breathing research. Whoa. I don't know if this is a huge typo. It says there's also the air breathing research Hosoki Z car, which is a naturally aspirated Datsun 280ZX. Naturally aspirated is an internal combustion engine where air intake depends on atmospheric pressure and doesn't have forced induction through a turbocharger or supercharger. It's in a lot of sports cars. And it featured a 630 bhp L30 ETT engine.
Wow.
And is the basis for the Devil Z in the Japanese anime Wangan Midnight, which depicts the rivalry between the Blackbird and the Devil Z. Cool.
Wow. Okay.
So in 2020,
there
was a Reddit post by user Not the Foodie that found a website in Japanese, and another user chimed in and translated it, and it gave some history on the Midnight Club and the impact the group had, and included some additional information that wasn't part of the original article I read, so I wanted to include that. But it said you would undergo a period of time where you were tested to see if the driver had the skills and mental capacity to do it, and some took 5 years to join.
Wow.
Everybody had to agree that if you became official, you'd get the silver sticker, and if you were bad at driving, you had to take the sticker off. And I'm sure that was like really emotional and hard for some people, but like it's funny to me to see like a bunch of grown men be like, take the sticker off. The sticker would be on your muffler and would imply that you would win every time, and the tradition was you'd put the midnight sticker on diagonally. And the article translation ends with, quote, the original leader steps down 2019. New leader is making a new start. Some of the members found success as professional racers. Some joined car manufacturers to make and race cars, breaking speed records and owning car shops. Continuing history and tradition, the new stage is limitless. So people actually think that it's always been active, but just after the accident, the club became like a lot more low key.
I mean, respect.
And I did feel like I needed to include this exchange on the Reddit thread. So Thick Sabin said, how do we know this is legit? 2, why would an underground criminal racing club have a website with a lot of English? He makes valid points. Granted, I didn't see a lot of English on the website. I just saw it said midnight and then it said welcome, and I couldn't understand anything else. Okay. So, and then Import Fanboy said the website was created by an OG member. They're not an underground criminal club. Back then, they were well known in Japan. They were published in magazines and their cars were at the Tokyo Auto Salon. Some of them own well-known tuning shops or work in important positions at Japanese car manufacturers. Just because nobody on the other side of the earth heard about them back then doesn't mean they're an underground club. They made the website and are planning on doing a lot more stuff in public since more and more people got interested in the club in the last years. And since posts like the Drive Tribe video or the Wiki article are full of shit, they want to set the facts straight now. So I guess, I don't know, I didn't read those articles.
Drama.
But then somebody, if you want, like, I guess for more reading, OK Camel said the podcast Past Gas did an episode about them recently, which I enjoyed. It's worth checking out. Their videos on YouTube are under the name Donut Media, but I think it's just their podcast that covered Midnight Club, and that is the Midnight Club.
Wow.
Thank you.
I feel like I should always clap. I one time was getting late night fries at McDonald's.
Late night fries, dude.
I'm
Except
sorry,
I prefer my
like,
late night fries to be from In-N-Out. But that's
yes,
fine.
Okay.
But everyone thinks In-N-Out fries are bad fries if you're not from here.
They're the best fries.
Isn't that weird? I think they're just so great.
I love them so much, but McDonald's sometimes has a good fry, I have to say. And I was getting a late night fry at the McDonald's on Alvarado and Temple specifically.
That's San Francisco?
No, that's Los Angeles.
That's Los Angeles. I knew that.
And it's in Echo Park.
Okay, that's why I didn't know it.
Historic Filipino town.
Rise up.
And I was waiting for my midnight fry, the second window, and all of a sudden, like the intersection was like weirdly like trafficy, like for being at like midnight or like 1 a.m.
Did you see a street race?
Yes. And then all of a sudden, like the lights turned and no one moved at the intersection and they all stopped. And then you just hear down the street, like the sound of engines like coming close. And I was like, what the? And everyone in the drive-thru was freaking out. It was very exciting. And then these cars just came whipping by and started doing like donuts in the circle in the intersection. And there were these hot ass women like hanging out of the window, just like, yeah. And like, I loved it. It was so exciting.
Oh, I wish I was there.
And like all the people like at the intersection, like were part of it and they were all like spectators and it was very exciting. And then they just got in their cars and left. And then you heard the police sirens come. And I was like, I love this.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
My dad used to street race in Yorba Linda.
Are you serious?
When he was a kid, yeah.
Oh.
Because we would drive down the strip and he'd always be like, it's a good strip for racing.
Oh.
And I remember when I was older, I was like, Dad, what's the deal? And he was like, oh, we used to race down this.
I street raced my sister's Tesla down a street in Yorba Linda. I can go from 0 to 60 in like 1 second.
Oh, that's crazy. I've heard Teslas drive different. Like it feels like a go-kart.
I don't like it. I don't want to have a computer in my car. No, thank you. I'd like to escape the computer.
Escape the machine.
I actually have another transportation story.
Oh. Wait, a transportation themed episode.
It is a trains,
beep, beep.
Planes, and automobiles.
Beep, beep.
Planes, trains. Yeah.
Beep,
beep. Beep, beep.
You honk at people?
No.
Okay, I don't either. I think we've talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah. The one story I was going to say really fast was one time I went and got my car tuned at Honda and they fucked up my horn and my Honda Element, so it sounded like a clown horn. It was like burp, like it was really lame. And this guy, like as I'm pulling out of the Honda dealership, this is when I lived in San Francisco, this like guy was crazy, and so I went to honk at him and it sounded like a clown horn, and I was like they just like, because I knew that it didn't sound like that before.
Did you get it fixed?
Well, so then I was like so upset about it, and I'm like driving back to work and I was calling them on the phone, and then a cop saw me and pulled me over, and I was like, of course. And so I was like, he was like, you can't be on your phone. And I'm like, I totally know that and I always follow that, but like these car people, man, because like
did he still give you a ticket?
No. And so I explained to him the situation. I was like, my car horn sounds like a sounds like a clown car. And he was like, no. I was like, it does. And I'm very upset about it. And that's why I was on the phone, because I literally was just there and I was going off. And then he was like, can I hear it? So I pressed it and he laughed so hard. And then he was like, he reached in and started pressing my horn. And then he said, don't talk on your phone. And he left.
Oh.
So I didn't get a ticket.
Nice.
But my car horn, and Honda didn't replace my horn. So
what?
Fuck them.
Boo.
So I had a clown car.
I feel like Honda horns generally aren't very intimidating sounding. When Alex drove a Honda Civic, I remember he was always mad because the horn is like beep beep.
That's mine. Mine's mine. My little fit. No, I don't, because of that. I'm scared of road rage.
Same though.
Well, speaking of planned road rage, well, kind of rail rage.
Rail rage.
So I'm talking about the crash at Crush.
Jeez.
Have you heard of the story?
No, I haven't.
Well, let's go back to 1896.
My favorite year.
Fucking course. So Crush, Texas in 1896 was one of the biggest cities in the state. But the reason you have not heard of this town is because it was made, created, and gone in a day.
What?
Because it was invented or founded.
Insurance fraud.
No, for a publicity stunt.
Oh.
That would be soon called the, quote, Duel of Iron Monsters.
Oh, baby.
So, as I said, we're in 1896, and the U.S. is coming off the heels of an economic downturn. Money is tight, and jobs are hard to come by. So, for the Missouri, Kansas, and Texas Railroad, better known by the nickname the Katy.
Too bad you go by Kate now.
True. Well, you can call me either. So the Katy, the Missouri, Kansas, Texas Railroad. No idea why it's called that. I keep thinking my camera's turning off. I'm sorry. That's why I keep looking at you. They came up with a creative marketing ploy to spur passenger revenue. And that's what the Duel of the Iron Masters was. So William William George Crush.
Oh, I was like, George and William are like very different names.
William George Crush came in at this point.
Okay.
And was like, you guys want to raise some revenue? And he was a passenger agent for the Katy, and he had the idea to bring some publicity to the railroad.
Okay.
So, quote, so he got 2 locomotives, put them facing each other, and brought them together in a staged collision.
That sounds expensive. Did they do like a miniature or like
No,
it was like
2.
full size? Oh my God.
While Crush is pitching this publicity stunt, the railroad industry is already a dominant force in the country, and the Katy is growing. So I'm like, okay, why do you need publicity if you're like one of the booming industries?
Greed.
Well, I guess like no steady progress is no progress. Is that a phrase?
That's not a phrase. No deed goes unpunished.
Or like economics, like you always have to be growing. If you're moderate, whatever. Okay.
Because of inflation.
Yeah.
You know what my mom would say?
What?
I'd be like, so? And she'd be like, so your big toe. When I was like, if I would lose my train of thought, which happens a lot.
I don't like that. I feel like you're going to chop off my toe.
She'd be like, that also just like unlocked a memory. Sorry.
No,
this is the
go.
last interjection
I need
I'll
to
have.
make this bigger because my eyes hurt.
That unlocked this memory of like, I was sitting at home with my mom, and my mom was sitting, you know, in my parents' living room, how it's like they have that like big leather couch,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess it's still a leather couch. But so she was like sitting there, and we were like talking, and all of a sudden I like turned on like Eminem and started like rapping to my mom like in her face. But I was just like had so much energy, was like jumping around, and like I don't know why I did that.
Wait, that's so funny. This is why we're best friends, because I had this like repressed memory from such a long time ago when I joined a children's chorus for 1 season so I could get Slurpees on Tuesdays afternoons. That's the entire reason I joined, because my sister was part of it and my dad would take her to get Slurpees. And I was like, I want to get Slurpee. So I joined, and the first song we learned, I was like,
Eminem?
I was really cocky about it. I came home with my little choir folder. And I remember I was like, Mom, I'm going to sing the song to you. And I just remember my actions. And now it's like just such a cringy, like repressed memory. I feel like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I put it down. I like spread my legs really. And I like pulled up my pants. Like I was like, so. And then I performed it. And I was like, who taught me that? Who taught me that action? Like I think in my head, to psychoanalyze myself, I was like, that's like what like teenager, like
they pull up their pants,
like young adults, they're like you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but
I feel
totally.
like that's such a big part of your childhood, is like you just want to be a teenager,
which is so funny because it's just like, not that I want to be a kid, but it's just like, okay, like this isn't really all that it's cracked up to be. So
yeah, you're a teenager and you're like, oh, I still like
hormones,
this still sucks for me.
Yeah.
Actually, teenagers was like kind of fun for me, I have to say.
It was fine.
Why do they need this publicity stunt?
Mm-hmm.
I have the answer. It's because of competition.
Of course.
So the Missouri, Kansas, Texas Railroad had expanded from its base in St. Louis, but that's all I have.
Oh, okay.
So it's called the Missouri, whatever. I said Missouri, Kansas, Texas Railroad, but they wanted to expand, and there's a ton of competitions. So they're like, how do we stand out?
By having a collision?
Yes.
But shouldn't their competition, doesn't that make it seem like it's dangerous?
I think it was just so, like, it honestly was like a publicity stunt now, where it's like, what's the craziest thing we can do that will make people like
know that this, like, was it they just wanted people to know like, oh, they're expanding, or I didn't know they went to
also,
Texas.
Like, it forced all these people to buy tickets on their rail line to come to this made up town called Crush,
which is where
they did the crash at Crush.
But so did they tell people they were going to do it? And so it's like, you can get tickets
were advertising
to watch
for it.
Oh, I thought they were making it sound like it was an accident.
No.
I was like, that seems like people wouldn't want to.
Like, come fly on our airline. Our airplanes crash all the time. You're like, I don't want to. Yeah, so they were like, come. It's like monster trucks. You know what I mean? It was like, let's fucking
again,
crush
this sounds so
train.
expensive. But sure.
I know, I don't really understand. But so the only concern apparently that they had was that would the train's boilers explode upon impact? And Crush was like, no, like definitely not.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
And so that was enough for the board members to be like, let's do this thing. So word of the event was in headlines across the state, and flyers were posted along the Katy Railway, encouraging riders to take the $2 round trip to see the spectacle. And when it came time for the crash, Stephen Sloan, who is that? We don't know him.
Okay. Haven't heard of him.
Sorry. It's not even that funny. It just... I don't know why that got me. Okay. This guy, I think he was a historian that I got this information from. He said an estimated 40,000 people came into this pop-up town of Crush, Texas. And it was just 15 miles north of Waco, if you
watch HGTV.
Why?
That's where the Magnolia home, Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, that's where they're from. And they like own like a bunch of businesses in the town and stuff.
I have to say, I feel like we know that Texas is big, but it's so fucking big. And
it's huge.
Have you driven across it?
No, I've never been to Texas.
Oh, I like Austin a lot. I would move there. But it is so big. And to drive across it, you're just like, when will this end? Sorry. I mean, it's a great state. It's just a lot of land. Because we don't have like the going this way in California.
It's like going up.
Yeah. Anyways, I learned who Sloan is. He's a historian and director of the Baylor Institute for Oral History.
Cool.
That's who that is. Okay, so he says there was kind of a surrealness with it. When you first hear the story, to imagine this happened, to imagine this in the middle of nowhere for a day, what would even the second largest city in Texas popped up to see this event, that still seems hard to imagine that it actually occurred. But it did, and there's pictures. There's like old-timey pictures of it happening.
Wow.
It's so funny looking. So at the fictional town, a 3-mile stretch of track was set up adjacent to the Katy Railway that ran through the area. On one end was a 35-ton locomotive, engine number 999, and it had a bright green body with red trimming. On the other side of the track was a 35-ton, same weight, number 1001, and its colors were the reverse, bright red with trimmed in green. And each train also had 6 box cars attached, I think just for aesthetics, to make it look like a train. So this guy, Sloan, is trying to explain why this is crazy. And like, I don't really understand. It just like, it's crazy because it's crazy to have 2 trains crash. But this is his explanation for it, which I think is funny. We're not that far removed from an age when the fastest you could travel was via horse. So the work you could do would be a horsepower. So to see dramatically, even in the space of a couple generations, what happened in the 19th century, I don't think it's unusual that they would have underestimated how destructive something like this could be. But it's like, obviously it is. It's like a big ass train.
But also I feel like it's like, yeah, come like to our train, come use our train. It's really destructive. Like that to me feels like bad PR.
I think then because everything was so new and exciting, like it was just like,
it was fine.
It was just like,
it's like, we'll just die. It's fine. Whatever.
So Crush, the organizer and who got the town name after him, why was that hard to say? He insisted to restrict the general public to a minimum of 200 yards away from the track, which doesn't still seem far enough for me. How long is
2 football fields?
Okay, I guess that's pretty far. But he allowed the members of the press to be within 100 yards. And they expected somewhere between 20 and 25,000. But as I said, 40,000 people showed up.
Per train.
And over 30 special exhibition trains dropped off people to this event.
Fancy.
So
wait, so did they like build, for some reason, this is probably a stupid question, did they just build railroad that like went to this made up city?
No, so it went like the train went through this area, but then they built like a dummy track like alongside of it. And So at 4:00 in the morning, the trains began their joust.
At 4 in the morning?
Sorry, 4 in the afternoon. Where's my head at?
I was like, that seems weird. That feels like they wanted it to be a secret.
Oh, I didn't say it. Also, like, they literally set up a town. Like, there was like little like stalls that you could buy souvenirs and like popcorn at. It was like a little circus.
So does that mean this is Lindy? Like press events?
Oh, president. Well, Lindy has to be. Remember, he was like shitting on coffee for being 400 years old. So I don't think it's Lindy.
Oh, okay. It's not Lindy.
It must be though, because I feel like Roman emperors were about the press, right?
Yeah, propaganda. Definitely.
Lindy for sure. Okay, so 4:00 hits. The trains begin. The train personnel get the trains going at full throttle, then jump off of it when it hits 10 miles an hour. Then the trains are picking up steam and hurling towards each other at 50 miles per hour until they finally hit head on. So this physicist at a Texas college says that when the collision happened, his name's Ron Miller. I'll give him the credit. Okay. When the collision happened, the trains hit with a force of impact ranging from 1 to 2 million pounds of force. And the attached boxcars created additional waves. So it was just like a fucking disaster, obviously. Like, what do you think is going to happen when two trains? But when the trains collided, the Katie's one true concern came true. The boilers burst, sending shrapnel into the crowd. And sadly, 2 people died. And one of the press, Waco-based photographer, lost his eye, and screws and bolts were lodged into his head. But still, the crowd rushed towards the collision site to get souvenirs of the busted trains, and they did not realize that the smoking debris would burn their hands.
Oh. Did we start this segment talking about how stupid consumers are, or was that at last episode?
I don't remember. I think it was the last one.
It's pretty dumb.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was the last one. So the story obviously made national headlines, and Crush was immediately fired. The publicity was not negative. It was sensational. So he actually got rehired and continued to work for the company until his retirement, in a career spanning 6 decades. And the Katie Railroad quickly settled lawsuits from the victims' families with cash and lifetime rail passes. The injured photographer received damages amounting to $10,000, equivalent to $300,000 in 2020. And although the incident resulted in tragedy, the Katie benefited enormously from the attention it received, including international recognition.
Wow, even with all those people getting injured?
Despite the disaster, many railroads continued to stage locomotive collisions in the following years, which I didn't know. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know either.
I feel like people just died all the time.
And everyone was okay with it?
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
It's fine.
So that is the crash at Crush.
It does look really silly. Like, it looks dumb.
It's like that. Why are we doing this?
It just looks stupid. I don't know. Like, I'm uninspired.
I guess, like, to all the people who think, I mean, I guess this is not Lindy. This is a non-Lindy statement. But humans have always been stupid. Like, we've always been, like, dumb and, like, entertained by, like actually dumb stuff. Like, that's what gets our rocks off.
Well, it's funny. Gets your rocks off. It's funny because when you think about, like, I know Alex and I get really entertained when the cats are like hypnotized by like a string or something, and so I feel like it's like, oh, like, haha, it's a string, and they're so like entertained, and it's like we do like the same thing, which
I know.
is like such stupid things,
like fidget spinners.
I never got into fidget spinners, even though I think I would have really liked it, but I never got into it because I couldn't figure out how to get it to work.
Maybe you didn't get a good one. You just press the middle. I actually, like, when I ever had gotten my little hands on one, I was so into it.
What I do instead is I just have this like stress ball that I kind of like throw back and forth when I'm working.
Maybe I should get one. Maybe that would actually help with my ADHD.
Alex also has this cube that he likes, and it just has buttons on it, and so he'll just like keep it in his hand and just like press them.
Shit. All right.
ADHD
the more
fan.
you know.
Okay, well, I guess I guess that's it. Thanks so much for listening or watching. Just a reminder, we have a video version of the podcast. You can check out YouTube, type in "Shut Up, Keep Going." And we have some of our most recent episodes on video, and in the foreseeable future, we will continue to do that. New episodes every Friday. Image guide, Shut Up, Keep Going, all one word. Thank you so much for listening. If you ever have a topic that you think would be fun for us to look up, feel free to submit it to our Instagram. We do check the DMs, and I just might read your DM out loud and make fun of you. Sorry, I think his name was Ethan.
Christian. No,
I don't.
It was in the last
Start
episode.
with an A. Alan?
Anders.
I don't know. Listen to the last episode and find out what I'm talking about. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.